Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's another car vlog. We've not done one of these in ages, but with the weather looking so immaculate, I just thought, what a better time to get out in the car and do a car vlog. At the night of recording this video, England are about to play their second World Cup match. And I'm not a big fan of football. I know my nephews are mad for it, but I'm not a big fan of it. I only really watch when the World Cup or the Euros is on, because it's nice to imagine that we might actually get far in the competition and win some matches. And I believe they've done well in the first match they played. I mean, I know they did because I kind of watched it at Helen's house. And that's what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to go and watch the second match at Helen's house. Hopefully England wins against Ghana. I'm not too clued up on football, but I believe they will. And I'm excited. Not even for football. I'm just excited to see Helen on a Tuesday, because normally our weekly routine doesn't involve seeing each other on a Tuesday. And the weekly routines are coming to an end, which I'm very excited about, because for the last 5 years it's been very awkward to navigate life and timetables, because Monday nights I pick Helen up from work, I go and see her. Usually I have my tea with her, and then I'm there until like 10 o'clock. I was last night. It was a late one last night. I'll be a late one again tonight with the match being on. Tuesday nights she goes and volunteers at this youth club thing that she does. It's called Rainbows, if any of you know what that is. And the Americans probably will know it as like Girl Guiding or Brownies or something like that. But Helen volunteers and she goes and helps out at this youth club on a Tuesday night. So usually I don't get to see her. But with the match being on and things like that, we are looking like it's on for a meet-up, which is very exciting. I don't normally get to go around and see her on a Tuesday evening, so I'm very excited to do that. Wednesdays are quite fun. We have strategized a while back to actually involve our Wednesdays being our social days of the week, because Wednesdays, I pick, it's a late night for both of us. Both of our works finish late on a Wednesday, because we have after hours meetings and things that we have to attend and do. So I pick her up on a Wednesday evening. It's a late one, sort of 5, half 5 type business, and then get back to either her mum and dad's for a meal, or we have a meal out in the middle of the week. And it's nice, it breaks the week up, it helps us vent to each other, catch up with what we've missed out on. And then Thursdays are dedicated to her sister and our 2 beautiful little nieces, Charlotte and Ellie. The Liz Thursdays have been a thing now for a while, and that's just part of our routine. So it's a thing that we have to, timetable in and have as part of the week. So Thursdays are for her sister and our nieces, and then Fridays are fun days, because Friday fun day, we get to get out of work. I get to pick her up from work. I get to get out of work and basically kickstart the weekend. Now, before we had the house, Fridays were like first big breath of fresh air for the week. It's kind of where our week started, and that's why for the last 5 years it's been very complicated, because we've been basically living Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days. 3 days is our week, basically, is how we've had to play it, which has been really frustrating. Because obviously by the time you meet each other after work and you're knackered and you're exhausted, you don't have a lot of hours left in the day. In the winter months, you don't have a lot of daylight. The minute you get out of work, it's pitch black. You can't really do anything. The weather's crap. It's been difficult. It's been 5 years of really hard, time and effort to put up with. It's been a really tricky one to have to combat as a couple. But being a good couple and working together and being on each other's team is what basically played a big part of getting through those 5 years and getting through that big chunk of time where we were used to living together at uni and had that freedom of waking up and having our own weekly timetable and what we could do and what we could plan. And that all kind of went in the bin when we graduated. That was the downside of graduating. Uni finished and it was kind of depressing for a long time. Our weeks got completely reshuffled, and it became a really difficult thing to go from having a full-time relationship, basically Monday to Monday, basically the whole week's worth of time together, having to then shave that down into just Friday night, all day Saturday, and then by the time you're getting close to Sunday evening, it's winding down and shutting off, and we've got to get it back to her parents. So it's been very difficult, and that's one thing that the house purchase really put into motion for us, was getting rid of this sort of odd, awkward, not very nice timetable that we've been forced into, and actually giving us our time back, giving us our weeks back. We are slowly and shortly getting closer to the transition from leaving here officially and moving up to York. Now, I know Helen will be slightly delayed than me. She's got family members' birthdays to attend to, and her work finishes slightly later than mine does. But I've got a date, and obviously we don't want to announce it just yet, but we've got a date, and when that date hits for me, that's move out day. You know, and it will be a long process. It's not going to happen instantaneously. It's not going to happen overnight. I've got to wait for certain times of August to make some moves happen. But eventually, you know, by the summer, by the time we're deep in August, in full swing of August, we should both be up there and settling in to the Tellens place. And that's exciting, because 5 years, you know, of being out of uni, 5 years, including the time of obviously graduating the last year of uni and getting out of uni and graduating again for Helen. She's done it twice, you know. She's done a PGCE, which is incredible, and it's been a long bumpy road, but we got there in the end. And not only have we got there, it's been nice to see so many other couples from our school, so many couples that we're friends with are out there in the world doing their own things. Some of them have got kids. Some of them are getting married, some of them are getting flats and apartments, and it's all kicking off for everyone, really. It's great, it's good to see. We're all getting to that stage in life now where whatever we're doing it well. And that's the biggest takeaway, I think, out of this type of video and this type of content. As much as it's just like driving and talking therapy for me, it's good for you guys too. Like, whatever you're doing, whatever you're planning, whether it's buying houses or renting flats or getting married or having kids or doing your own thing, just do it well. Do it well. Do it happy. Do something that makes you happy, and do something that gets you motivated. Because nothing has dragged me out of bed more these last 9 years than Helen. She's literally dragged me out of bed on the worst days, on the heavy days, on the difficult days. She's been there to drag me out of bed, to be the human alarm clock, even though technically I wake up first. So there's that. But metaphorically speaking, she's been the person who drags me out of bed and gets me up every morning to get through the hard days at work, to get through the tough times, to get it done, to get the job done, and to enjoy chipping away at a big goal. We're in a generation now where this generation, and this is where I begin to sound very old as a 25-year-old, but we are in a generation now where the kids of 2026 and the teenagers of 2026, they basically want everything instantaneously, and I get why. It's TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and instant gratification, that hit of dopamine constantly in their brain. They just want to get stuff instantaneously, and that brushes off on older generations too. I know a lot of people in my generation who might get a bit grumpy if other people are getting married, or if other people are getting houses, or if other people are getting kids, or passing driving tests, or getting jobs and things like that. It's a very difficult world to be in right now. It's the most complicated and complex it's ever been. When our parents were our ages, when our parents were 25s, the world was a bit more of a clear-cut, simple, understandable place, and now it's not. Now it's quite complicated. And now it's quite complex, and I'm sure in 10 years' time it'll be even more complex, and it'll be even more complicated. That's why I loved COVID. Personally, COVID was great from my point of view. Well, obviously I've got to be biased. I can only speak about COVID on my side of it. My side of it gave me a massive reset. It got me away from the pressures of everybody else. It got me the time away with Helen, which was really lovely, because it was make or break for us. You know, a lot of people were a bit negative at first and were saying, obviously, when you meet as two young teenagers and you go through the sweetheart phase and the honeymoon phase, and then you get to live together, and that's when you really find out about each other. And it's like every single step we took together, we got through it, we achieved great things, we enjoyed it, we made great memories. They're all here on the channels to go back and relive and rewatch, and that's what's gotten me through some tough times as well in recent years, when obviously I've not been able to see Helen on a Tuesday night, or I've not been able to see Helen as easily. I get to sit here and watch the content of us being at uni and enjoy it. And yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really good that we've made it this far, and it feels like we're at the end of a humongous marathon, and it feels like we're at the end of a massive journey. But then also at the same time, quite excitingly, feels like we're right at the start of something completely brand new, which I'm very excited about. It's a weird feeling. Feels like one massive chapter is finished and now we're moving on to the next one. It's really cool, because the house is a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not tons of work. It's not as crazy as what some people have to deal with. Like, some people buy a house and they literally have to do it from the ground up again, like renovate entire rooms at a time. And we don't need any building work to be done necessarily. We need some adjustments in the loft for storage, and we're going to get a water tank thing removed that we don't need. That was the thing that held us up for the 9 months we were waiting on pulling the trigger on the house. It was this stupid water heater thing, and we finally got to the bottom of it being pointless, and now we can get it chucked out the house because we own the house. We can pay for someone to come around and get rid of it professionally for us, and we can do that now. And that wasn't a thing. You know, at the time of buying the house, it took so long because it was there and it was dormant and it wasn't doing anything, and it hasn't been doing anything for about 10 years, and the guy who owned the property hadn't had it removed, and that just was the reason why we took so long buying the house. But we got there in the end. On the 3rd of June 2026, we got our house put through. So I was very excited for that. That was incredible, and that was a great day. That was a really good day. And we're so close to being in there full time now, and we've got a lot of fun projects to do. And that's the other thing that me and Helen go up there every weekend and we try and remind ourselves of. Sometimes it's going to be expensive, sometimes it's going to be a bit stressful, sometimes it's going to be a bit intense. We got a lot of work to do, but also we're going to make a lot of fun memories while we do it. Like, we painted our walls with these little sample pots, and people watched that. We uploaded that as a YouTube short on the Talent channel, on this channel, and you guys watched it, and like 700 of you watched it, so that's great. That's fantastic. And we're going to do more little things like that. Like, we're going to have to put up our first shelves, and we're going to have to put up our media wall, and we're going to get a lot of flat pack furniture from IKEA and other places like that, and we're going to have to assemble those mostly ourselves and set it all up. And like, we're getting the internet guy around at some point, and we're going to get the loft people around, and a painter and decorator, and the house will slowly turn into our home. And you will watch that happen in real time if you keep up with the channel. Or if you find the channel later down the line, you can come back and rewatch these in whatever order you want. But I find that part really exciting. Like, every time we go up there at the moment, obviously if you've watched the videos you'll know this, but if you haven't, basically every time we go up there, we have a big pop-up tent that we've had for years, and we never took it camping. We just had it. I bought it, I think, at winter when tents were discounted like 64% off. It was crazy. But we got this cheap tent, and it's this massive pop-up that sleeps like 3 people. So it's a big tent. And we sprung it up in the living room, and for the first weekend we were there, we had one blow-up mattress. So as you do, I gave it to Helen so that she'd be comfortable. And then I was on the floor, and I came back and I had bruises all down my leg, and I had bruises on my hip from sleeping on the floor for 2 nights in a row and being battered in the process. And then the week that followed, we took up a double air mattress, and that following weekend we were on the double air mattress, and that was much comfier for both of us. And we had blankets and towels, and we have random plates from university that we kept, and our microwave and our kettle and our toaster we kept from university, and we just did a lot of cobbled together DIY bits and pieces to just make it livable for now. Because at the end of the day, that's all we need it to be. We just need it to be livable. We don't need it to be glamorous or over the top or anything. We just need it to be sustainable and livable and comfy. And it is. And like the kitchen now, it looks more like a kitchen. The fridge has been deep cleaned. It's got all the fridge shelves in it and all of its little compartments. We've got a few drinks in there and our butter's in there, and we've got milk and stuff. When we go up at the weekend, we buy a fresh pot, like a fresh jug of milk, whatever you call it, pint of milk, and then put it in the fridge. And like, we buy fresh toast, and we always make sure we get like reduced bread and stuff like that to save the cost, and obviously because we're only up there for a short space of time. And it's, you know, having cereal on the floor and having your tea on your knee and literally not having a sofa and having to push like 2 little rolled mattresses together. We've got, like, I think they are duvets. I think they're 2 little balls of duvet that we've rolled up, and we've just smushed them together, and we use them as like a little mini improvised sofa. And Helen's mum and dad brought up these sort of outdoor furniture, pop-up chairs, like little fishing chairs. And Helen's been using that when she's been working on a laptop and having to rely on our like 4G and our hotspots for our devices to work, because we've obviously not had internet. And going around the house and finding out all the different quirks about it, and the neighbours and what the neighbours like and what the neighbourhood's like, and it's so different, and the way of life up there is so different, and you do genuinely feel it. And I think that bit's the hard bit for people to grasp, unless you've been through it and you can relate to it through your own sort of journeys and what you've done in life. But there's such a tone shift when we're up there. Like, there's very much a Tom and Helen that exists in this awkward routine of only seeing each other really Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and having any optimal time to do that. And the Tom and Helen that have to go to work from here every day and be separated every night, and, you know, being awkward with the timings and the timetables and the schedules, and just burn out, and versus being up there with each other. It's like the old days. It's like the uni days. Like, uni was stressful as hell. We had so much stuff. Helen had so many humongous projects because she did an English course, and she had to do so much presentation work and making things and making these humongous presentations and projects. And she worked every night like crazy, but she was still at home, and she was on the sofa, and we were having tea together, and we were having breakfast together. And it was like the little things that I know married people must take for granted 70 years later or 30 years later, but that it's so not for me and Helen. You know, we're so different. We find such enjoyment in the little things, and maybe it's because we've been deprived of it. Maybe, you know, maybe that is true. There's that old philosophy that absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't think that should then mean that you purposely force yourself to be absent in each other's lives, because I think that's a bit toxic and not very healthy. But definitely being forced apart has kept us the way we are, like excited to see each other again, and excited to be around each other, and to work on the house together, and to have these moments where she's telling me the ideas of what she wants, and I'm trying to think about how we can make that work, and taking turns at being in charge at different aspects of the house, and finding out who knows what's best for what room and setup and things. It's been a fun dynamic. It's been really fun to do it with someone who cares, and you're both there together, caring together, and it makes it want to be successful. And it's the reason it will be successful. You know, looking back on it now, it'll be so funny when we're actually sat on a sofa, and it's our sofa, and we're sat on our bed, and we're like, oh, do you remember when we spent the first month of the house living on the floor? Like, sleeping on the floor, living out of one room, like basically just staying downstairs 24/7 because we didn't want to go upstairs and mess it up there, and we didn't have any furniture. My car has a warning system when it thinks I'm going over the middle line, but then it also doesn't detect when there's cars on the left of me, so that makes it quite difficult. But yeah, it's mad. It's absolutely bonkers. We're living on the floor, we're being proper rough and ready, and just using what we've got around us for the meantime, and whatever we can squeeze into the car to take up there for the weekend. And at the end of the day, we're just making it work. And I love that. There's a big part of me that's like enjoying it, enjoying that awkward process where you haven't got any furniture and you haven't got any things, and you've got a, like, we use a lamp, like sort of ring light tripod thing that I would use for lighting videos. We use that as a lamp because why not? And like of an evening, we turn the main lights off and we string fairy lights, like little fairy lights from a Christmas tree, or like an outside garden ornament thing, and we just decorate the living room with those little fairy lights, and we turn them on, and it lights the living room up a little bit nicer, and it makes the house feel homely. And it's like, it's not perfect, and it's not going to be how it's going to be forever, but we definitely have a lot of work to do, and we've got a lot of fun projects ahead of us, and we're working every step of the way. We, like, the first weekend we maximise security and we put a lot of things in place, and then again this weekend we're doing some more security updates with the Wi-Fi and the like camera doorbells and things like that we're going to have installed, and we changed all the door locks, and you know, we reinforced the property a bunch, and then Then we're going to slowly, like Helen at the moment has been absolutely fantastic. She's been finding painters and decorators, and her plan is now to try and find and track down a painter who can get the jobs we need done at a pretty fair budget for us. And if she finds somebody who can basically reset the whole house to a nice white colour, like a nice clean polished white, for a good price, she's happy. And I'm excited to see the house painted, because like I was the weekend we got it deep cleaned. You know, we paid for this lovely little Chinese couple. They came up, they deep cleaned the whole property from top to bottom, and already just from the what I think it was 3 hours that they put in, the house looked well different, so much different. And then we kept on top of it, and we keep up with the cleaning and the maintenance, and then we get the painter in, and he's going to paint, or she's going to paint, and then we're going to see what it looks like with a new coat of paint on it, and that'll be really exciting. And then the loft people will come in, and they'll get their bits done, and then we'll be able to start bringing some bigger boxes up and things like that. So it's all a work in progress, and it's very fun, and it's very exciting, and it's part of the new chapter of life, which I'm looking forward to. Having something that is ours. Because I feel like we've always been very available to other people. We've always been very accessible to other people. We've always given a lot of ourselves to other people. Like, whenever anyone's needed us, we've always been there. We've always just been at, like, the drop of a hat for people. And I don't think that is always for the best. You can get over-exhausted and burnt out by doing that, especially at work and in social circumstances and with families and stuff. It's very tiring. Being the youngest two of a family, it's very difficult. You have all these other people above you who in the hierarchy of your family, it's a lot. You know, you've got a lot of people above you looking down at you to see what you're going to do next, and that's a lot of pressure, for two young people. So it's exciting to have that space to kind of go away and work on projects and get some jobs done and be proud of them, and then to see what works and what we can show and what we can say, look, this is what you saw, and now this is the finished product, and then this is the next thing, and then this is the next thing. And slowly we'll turn a place that we found as just a random house that needed a lot of jobs doing, and we'll have turned it into our home, which is very exciting. That's a very cool prospect, to actually have a building become your own home. And I'm very excited to do that. That's very cool. That's something that me and Helen have dreamed of forever, and now we're going to actually be able to do it. You know, so many people out there right now dreaming to do something like this with their partners, and there's me and Helen just doing it. Like, we've saved and we've worked and we've earned, and we've been really careful and cautious and tried our best to do everything ourselves. And even now with the house buying process and going through it all, we did it all ourselves. We found our own mortgage people, our own solicitors, our own estate agents. We're finding our own tradespeople. We're making our own connections, and we're putting our foot forward in the world and making something of ourselves. And it's very exciting to do that, because obviously when you're a kid, you can't do that. You're stuck at home, you're stuck at your parents, or you're stuck at your carers, and you can't really go out or do anything on your own or be independent too much. There's always a lot of barriers and what you can and can't do. And it's not like that now. Now we've got that freedom. We can do what we want. We have the car, it's ours. We can just drive it anywhere in the world we want it. And it works brilliantly for that exact reason. And I'm just going to wait here now until she's ready and she's back. And yeah, I'm very excited to go up there again this weekend. Like I said, we have the Wi-Fi stuff to sort out, so we got that to do. And then we've got some cool stuff with the glass that we're working on. Some privacy glass screens. It's very exciting. They should arrive tomorrow on Amazon. So fingers crossed they get here on Wednesday. And I am filming this video on a Tuesday. But hopefully they get here Wednesday. And if they get here Wednesday, then that means I can take them up to the house. And we can try them out. And we can film it. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.